Dani and I'm doing my presentation on arches, vaults, and domes. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the history and some key elements and different types. Arches are, they occur naturally in nature, I guess, but through corrosion, and they, in structures, buildings, they can either be freestanding or they can hold the weight of the wall or the roof or whatever is above it. And they are completely compression. There's no tension. And so the primitive arch, which is the post and lintel structure, the posts are the vertical components and the lintel spans all the way across between the two posts. And the corbelled arch is this one, and it's each brick is held by half of the one that's underneath it, and they meet at the apex there. But what we think of an arch is the true arch, which is this one, which was created using the cable arch analogy, which we just use a cable, and this first one here is like the force of gravity, and that is just an arch, like what we would think. Or the same shape would be if we had a wall or a ceiling above it, an extra weight, like this parabolic arch. But if we do a equal outward pressure on a cable, and we invert that to make the arch to be a semicircular arch, like shown. And the pointed arch is made the same as the semicircular, except for there's an added weight at the top in the cable. And so if you invert it, it becomes a pointed arch. Some of the key elements of arches are I'm not sure how to say this, but the vissure, something like that. Vissure. I can't do that. I don't know. But they are these little wedge pieces here that make up the arch, and the fissure that's at the top, at the apex, is called the keystone, and that just holds all of the pieces together so that it uses the same forces throughout the whole arch. And the imposts, or the jambs, are these pieces that are sticking out on top of the piers here, and they basically make it connected to the wall, so that it's more stable. The springer is the lowest fissure, so where it meets the pier. The intrados is the part, like if you're going inside, underneath the arch, it's this interior surface right there. And the coins are the special stones or bricks that reinforce the outside corners of the buildings. So like these, like if this was the outside of the building, it would be these vertical pieces there. The spandrel is the part of the wall that's in between, like this triangular piece that's in between the arch and the exterior. So it's like a little triangle. And the crown is like just the top few pieces, so like the keystone and then the first two, maybe like the first one or two on each side of the arch. And so like we have many different types of arches. These are like some of the special types, but ones we think of like are the circular, which is like this, which is the same as the semicircular that we showed at this one. And then we also have, which that was first known in ancient Rome. And so then we have the pointed, which we have the lancet or the equilateral, which those are only different because of how wide they are. And that was you mainly think of that in Gothic architecture. And then we also have the parabolic, which we don't have in this picture, but that's mainly formed like for, it spans long distances, so we use them in bridges. And these are some of the stresses of the primitive arch, which are pretty much the same, but this is just statics of like free body diagrams and stuff like that. And then also there's vaults. Vaults are basically arches that are extended or multiple of them, multiple arches. But the first one is the barrel vault, which is just an arch that's extended along a line. But if you intersect two barrel vaults, you get a groin vault, as shown here. But if you intersect two pointed arches, you get a rib vault. And any of the surfaces that don't have the creases like this, those are called the panels. And each of the creases are the ribs. And then a fan vault is kind of like a groin vault, except there's not any of the creases. They smooth out those pieces to make like the whole piece of panel like that. And you can either have a single vault or you can have a series of vaults. And then lateral vault is like a singular one with like a series of vaults leading into it. And this is just, or beside it. So like this is normal, this is parallel. And we already talked about the groin vaults. And then if you have multiple groin vaults, they look like this. And this is the inside of a couple of the crops, groin vaults. Some of the key elements for the arch is basically the same for the vaults, but a few of them the pier is also an arch, which is just the raised part of that extends from the arch. And then for a vault, sometimes you need buttresses, so it's just a reinforcement along the side of the piers. And then sometimes you see flying buttresses, which I don't have a picture of, but it's just like there's space in between. I'm sure most everybody's seen a flying buttress. And then the arris is like the sharpened form at the intersection of two surfaces. So like here it would be this line, or it could be in between the buttress and the arch. Or the vault. Also the domes, and if you went to our structural movie, this is the Duomo in Florence, the Florence Cathedral. And they can either be round or in this one, this is an octagon. So, and they just curve up to meet at the top there. A little bit of history. The the Romans realized the architectural potential of domes, but the Byzantine builders, they achieved the technique of the pendentive, which is these pieces here, like this part. So it's changing the circular of the dome into like a square, as shown here. So the pendentive makes it a square. That's what I said. Okay, and then there's different types of domes. See, just like the, this is the, like a pointed arch, rotated 360 degrees. I guess it only has to do 180, but anyway. And then the hemispherical is the semicircular rotated, and you can raise it up or lower it to make the segmental or the camera. And then the faceted, which is what the Duomo is, or you can raise them up and have them on pendentives. Or like this one, it's not on a separate pendentive, but it's on pendentives itself. Like it's uninterrupted. And here's some different patterns that you can have in a dome, but most of the time we have them drawn as smooth, when in actual reality they have some kind of pattern. And those are my references. Is there any questions?